6:30, let's call the committee of the whole. We have the Leroy Engineering Company is with us. They're going to give a presentation. They just gave most of the legislators a presentation over at the building. And we'll turn the floor over to both of you. There are three of you or two of you? Two of you, yeah.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Bray. I'm with Foyt Albert Associates. We're working as the architects with Leroy, and this is Christopher Abramo, who's one of the engineers of the firm. We have made this presentation very similar to you before a few months ago, but we're back, and we want to give you an update on the progress of our project, and kind of give you an update as to where it is at, and again, why we are conducting this project. So, first of all, the project is for a shared services municipal facility. It will house the Business Development Center for Montgomery County. It will house the Department of Public Works and their maintenance and facilities and storage and parts. Why are we combining these facilities? The first time we were out here, before we started our design effort, we walked through existing facilities and saw what they were. Really, for our purposes, was to see what kind of program they already had and how could we make improvements on that. Our observations were rather clear. The facilities that are existing are really out of date. They're very aged. They're not code compliant in many cases, and they don't serve the public as well as they should. So we were very excited to be part of that process and come up with this new design. Go right ahead for the next slide. So here's the team that we've been working with the whole time. In terms of Montgomery County, we've got Matthew Austinfort, who's our county executive here. Ken Rose, who's the director of the Business Development Center. And Eric Mead, who is commissioner of the Department of Public Works. We've been working very closely with each of them to come up with not only the program for the building, but also with each of their departments to come up with exactly what they need and how can we best create a building that serves the needs. Our team at Leroy is Rick Blanche, he's the project manager. Christopher Abramo is with us today, a senior project engineer. We've got Bob Hutterman, who is their senior civil engineer, and Bruce Bisbol, who is the environmental engineer. All of them are very essential to a project of this nature. And myself, working as the architect from Foyt Albert Associates. Springline Design, Architecture and Engineering is our structural engineering firm. David Abramo is actually Chris's brother. Just happened to get this project as well with us. And then EDR was helping us a lot with some of the environmental and landscape architecture, things like that, just to kind of tie the whole project back together. Go to the next slide there, sure. So the facility that we originally presented was around 46,000 square feet. That was a schematic design that we came up with based on the existing program and what we felt would work. Since then, we've gone through a full design effort as well as an estimating effort, and that project was much too large to fit within the budget, and this whole project has been very budget focused. So we went back to the drawing board and back to the group and said we need to make some cuts. What can we do to still provide you everything you need in your program, but get it down to a more manageable square foot size and be more responsible with what we're doing with the building. So we actually shrunk it down to approximately 35,000 square feet and still provided pretty much every piece of the program that they were looking for. And we were really happy and proud to do that. It happens in every project. It doesn't matter what you're working on. It could be an office tenant fit out, it could be a skyscraper. So it's pretty standard practice. Since then, we've gone through a site plan approval process, a county planning approval process, both of which I believe we've gotten approval on. Yep. And then the design documents will actually be completed by the end of this month. In fact, next week, we're applying for a building permit, which will be more of a code review from the town of Lynn. And Chris, if you want to just kind of get us started here with what we've wound up with in terms of the site layout, that'd be great.
So this is the site layout, as you can see. So the building around there is the main building that houses the DPW facility and the Business Development Center. The other brown building in the lower right-hand corner, that's a proposed cold storage building. based on our current estimates, that is outside of the, budget, so we're gonna, get an alternate, and we'll know exactly what that'll cost if ever in the future. Then, same with that dark gray area, that's also gonna be part of the alternate as well. The light gray area is part of the base bid, that circle there where the roundabout that's existing, so we're gonna be extending off of that. Below your cursor there is actually the, fuel island. That's where the new fuel tank and the fuel island will go, so vehicles can either pull in through get fueled, or they can bypass the fuel island through the existing roundabout that's there. And then north of that is the new parking area, all based on occupancy and code compliance. And then above that is a new detention pond area for stormwater.
That's a really important point to bring up, Chris, is one of the reasons we're relocating the facility, especially the Department of Public Works building, is that it gets flooded, and it's not just minor flood, we're talking like feet of water. So there's, in the last 15 years, we've had 6 major incidents that have cost the county quite a lot of money and effort to save equipment, to save tools, to save computer printing, processing equipment for the signage. There are some things that can be flooded, but that effort is a great effort that has to be undertaken. And there's approximately 1 to 2 weeks lost in the productivity of that DPW facility because of that effort. Unmobilizing and remobilizing those things. And we've learned that just through more discussions with Eric and his team, and even today, just walking through the existing facility and really getting a handle on what's happened in the past. So this facility at its new site would be outside of the flood zone, but not only that, that kind of detention area stops that kind of flooding from ever being able to happen. So as an essential facility, this could continue to run even in that kind of environment. So in terms of the building itself, turn to the next page where the color-coded plans are. This is the latest plan that we have. It's very similar to the original one that was presented to you some months ago. Starting from the left in the light blue, that's actually the business development office. It's the first thing that visitors to this site will see. It's a very welcoming office. It's got some higher finishes in it, just to again be more of the face of Montgomery County as it's trying to bring in businesses. The next portion of that, which is in the yellow, is the Department of Public Works offices. This is where the shared services start to really play into the whole building itself. So that first section of the building is sharing all of the mechanical, electrical, computing needs, the plumbing facilities, everything that you would need for 2 offices are being combined into one. And what that first section of the building is actually a little shorter, and you'll see that in a moment. It's also separated completely from the remaining portion of the facility, which is the maintenance portion, where all the rest of the employees would be to repair the trucks and service the highway as well as the sign production. Why did we do that? There's a couple of reasons. One, right now the existing facilities are not separated. The offices for the DPW are not separated for fire rating or for any of the life safety issues. So that's one of the reasons we did it. The other reason is we could save money by not sprinklering the business portion of the offices, because we have to sprinkler the rest of the building. So it's actually 2 separate buildings, and it's connected by a small breezeway. The next section of the building in line is the employee areas and the sign production, so in those kind of 2 orange colors. On the top is where like the locker rooms are. There's a nice break room. The gray areas are more mechanical spaces where the water enters the building or where the plumbing heaters are, things like that. In terms of the other orange areas on the south or bottom portion of the building, that's the sign production and storage. Eric, how many towns did you say that we serve?
All 10 towns, all villages.
All the villages, all the towns, everything, we make all the signs out there. So we didn't realize the extent of that, so that area was even more important to us as we went through the design process. Right now, they don't have a clean room to print these signs, and it's actually kind of in their garage. So we've given them a really nice clean area to print the signs and then store them, so that they can serve the whole county better. The next sections, I don't know if you want to go through those, the maintenance garages, things like that.
The next section, the light blue area, is really for the highway guys, where they can park their vehicles. tools really easily. And it'll be a good heated spot for them to get in their trucks, warm their trucks up, and then not have to idle them, however long outside, to get them going. The green area there, that's the maintenance, that's where the maintenance garage will be. The thing I'd really like to point out with the maintenance garage and above that is actually the parts and the tire storage is, this facility will be very well lit, unlike the existing, and it'll also have proper airflow in it, unlike the existing, to keep a safe environment and maintain proper indoor air quality. They are servicing both diesel and gasoline vehicles in this facility, which code requires there to be continuous air changes to keep those flammable limits down when you're dealing with gasoline, because if there is a gasoline spill, there's a potential for there to be hazardous environment. So code requires continuous airflow, which is not existent right now. And the other big thing is the tire storage. The tire storage is much smaller than what they have right now, but that's because we're taking advantage of some of the vertical space we have. And so we're gonna have a tire carousel, and that space will have proper fire protection to maintain proper life safety conditions. Right now, there is no fire protection in their tire area, and there's a lot of tires in there, as you know, they're flammable. So we need to make sure that, and so as Michael said, this portion of the building will be sprinklered per NFPA 13 requirements. But all their maintenance will be taking place in that green card area with proper LED lighting, daylighting as well, proper clearances to the structure, much safer, newer lifts. And then also, to the right of that is their wash bay. That'll be, right now, washing is being done inside where they're parking, with a garden hose essentially. That space there will be properly ventilated again. And the right building materials used for that kind of environment to help sustain the building and keep the building longevity going. In addition to like the heating equipment, you wanna have the heating equipment that can sustain an environment like that. So that space, accommodate that kind of operation. And to the north in the kind of pinkish color, I guess, that's the parts. And like I said, that'll be where the tires carousel is, where the lubrication equipment is. That'll be where the parts are stored. And we'll have all the racking required, all the proper safety clearances for maintaining that, or forklifting and getting parts into that space.
So the next series of pages or slides are actually the exterior of the building. Last time we presented to you, it really hasn't changed much, which we're again really happy about, because we did run into some budgetary issues. But there's important things about the form of the building and what we've done with the building is, again, it's been a very budget conscious project. So the majority of the structure, and I'm going to say about 90% of it, is a pre-engineered clear span metal building, which you can usually see put up for barns or storage buildings. We're utilizing that same technology to provide the skeleton for this building. It's a very inexpensive structural support system, and we're utilizing that, I think, in a very innovative way here to create some building forms that are interesting, that they're not overly costly, and we're creating a really neat building that's going to be kind of the forefront for this whole business development area. On the top portion is actually a close-up shot of the building as it faces 5S. So we're utilizing larger portions of these buildings for some signage or for some, basically just showing off for the county. So we're going to have a county shield on there, really facing the street so that everybody that goes by knows exactly what this building is for and why it's there. What you're not seeing in some of these renderings are the further development of plantings. So there's some evergreen trees that we planted in front of this whole fenced area on the top rendering. That's going to block all of like the piling areas and things like that. Just because that it generally becomes unattractive, but we want to be responsible with where we're at. We're at the front and on a road. So that is evident on the site plan, but in terms of this rendering, we didn't have time to put that in there, so I apologize for that. The bottom rendering is actually just a full shot of the whole building as you're driving by. On the right-hand side is all the offices. As you can see, it's a shorter building. It's got a little more detail in it. And you can start to see a hint of these kind of windows up on the roof. And that's actually to harvest daylight into the corridors inside the building so that we don't have to light it as much as artificial light. And then generally, we all know, natural light gives us all a little more energy and a little better work environment. So that's been our goal again, the top rendering is another example of how we're utilizing what would otherwise just be the broadside of a barn. We want to put the model up there, maybe something stronger for Montgomery County. We felt that it was kind of a blank space that we had an opportunity to do, so we presented that to Eric and Alex and the team, and they thought it was a great idea. So again, just trying to present the county as somebody that cares and that this business development really does matter. As you get closer to the business development portion, which is on the bottom rendering, the detailing in the building becomes a little more complex and a little more interesting. We've got some wood look panels and some brick and some different color metals. Again, not going too crazy or too extraneous with the effort, but it's there. And then we're planting that a little more too, because that's really where the people are going to be walking into this building most of the time. Go on to the next rendering. Top shot is it's basically the entrance. As you can see, there's an overhang at each entrance that's going to keep everybody safe and out of the wintry weather or the rainy weather. We always try to put at least a canopy over the entrances. We feel that it's necessary to protect the public. And then the rendering at the bottom is kind of as you come around the other side of the building, you can start to see the DPW entrance at the middle. Again, identified with some more interesting materials, some brick, and some signage as well on the side of the building. Next one. And then that's just a closer up shot of the DPW entrance, which is actually that breezeway that I was talking about between the two buildings. So the right side is the whole maintenance and sign production, and on the left side is the portion of the business offices that you can see. And then we give you an aerial at the bottom there as well to kind of show off what we're doing with the roof to open it up to daylight and harvest the daylight not only into the offices, but if you'll notice along the entire length of the maintenance facility, there's what we call a clear story lighting that will harvest daylight from the south side of the building all day long and pour it right into where the workers are for not only their break room, but also where they're producing signs and where they're maintaining vehicles.
Okay, so want to talk about some of the project cost comparisons. So the existing facility is 21,600 square foot, maintenance 6,800 square foot, DPW office, so a total of 28,000 square foot. It was built, well, 1950s was a maintenance building, 1965 were the offices, so it's fairly dated, and honestly, Michael could tell you, like, the existing building is all just block construction. There's no insulation value, it's just concrete blocks, so there's nothing keeping the heat out or keeping the heat in. So there's definitely some major energy deficiencies in the existing building. The annual utility costs are roughly $33,000, and you can see the required repairs that need to be made. The biggest one being the new roof, and honestly, even more important than that is and not captured here because we don't know the extent of the structural damage. There's $20,000 here, but what is this, 20?
Yeah, the structure is 250,000, but honestly, that's just what we were considering some of the structural reinforcement that would have to happen for seismic. We did not realize that.
But there's serious damage to the outside of the building. Honestly, I didn't realize how serious it was when we put this together until we walked the building today. It needs to be looked at. I had a structural engineer look at the pictures I just took within the last hour, and he agreed that that needs to be looked at ASAP. That wall is in serious deterioration and really needs to be looked at for either shoring or replacement, even before this project is done. There's some major concerns within the wall. I don't want anyone to take that lightly. In my professional opinion, that's a big problem. And that was verified by not just me, but also other engineers who I sent the picture to.
I mean, we can go through the whole list here.
Yeah, I don't want to go one by one here.
Obviously, the building needs some help in terms of bringing it up to building code. There's also accessibility and federal guidelines that are not being met, especially important for a municipal facility where there may be some non-ambulatory folks that cannot get upstairs. There's no way to get to the offices for the Department of Public Works right now. So again, like I said, we were really focused on the new building and didn't realize we would have to make this kind of presentation, but we were asked to look at it one more time just to convince ourselves that we're doing the right thing. But in terms of all the costs that this building would be required to at least make it habitable and code compliant, our estimate is about $3.6 million. And that's not improving the energy efficiency of the shell of the building. You do get a new roof on it, but again, this building sits in a place where it floods 3 feet deep.
Right, it doesn't solve that issue.
It doesn't solve that
It
issue.
also doesn't fix that structural wall, because we don't know the extent of the fix that needs to be done on that wall. So that could easily be another $500,000 to $1 million in repairs that we didn't account for in this general estimate. So.
But this was something they asked us to look at, so we put it together in this presentation. We thought that you might want to see this as well, just to show that.
Now the new building, you want to go over?
No, the next one, sure. Thank you.
The new building, we did do a calculation based on, what we anticipate the energy cost to be. And we came up with roughly $26,000 a year, or sorry.
Yeah, that's correct. Utility, annual utility.
And then approximately the repair is gonna be like, the repair of the building is like $5,000, which is very minimal compared to what your existing building is gonna cost you. So, basically we end up with, like, we're looking at a $10 million cost, we're getting $2 million from the state for an $8 million bond. So what, if you consider the fact that, you know, with the utility costs, it's $8.15 million for the whole project. But if you consider the fact that you gotta spend another $4.5 million, say, on the existing building, this project really difference nets out to like just under $4 million. And with the new building, it's just a lot nicer looking, it's bringing business in, it's definitely creating an environment that is much more safe and, not, much brighter and ADA compliant, code compliant, so.
And that $3.8 million only covers the DPW building. We didn't even look at where the business development center is right now. You're all aware that that's in the historic building along the tracks. That has similar issues. They're not as severe, but one of the major ones there is, again, the accessibility. ADA gets somebody into that space. And does that space really serve the county well as a business development center? I mean, the whole reason we were designing this new space was because it didn't have that kind of salesman's position. They're at the top of a stair through a side door. This really puts everything right out front as a municipal agency.
Any questions?
Yeah. You said you scaled the project back a little bit based on the anticipated cost. How far along are you in breaking out those individual component costs? And what method does your company use to determine those costs? Do you subject them to a peer review? How does that work internally?
We hire a third-party estimator, so it's a consultant that our firm hires. They're actually named Trophy Point. They do this every day, all day long. In fact, they've been around for 25 years. And they ask us the questions when they need it, but it's really we have no other involvement in how they put those numbers together, and they are broken down by what we call the construction divisions. So you can actually see how much the steel is gonna cost in the building, how much the toilets are gonna cost. I mean, so it is very well broken down. And the reason we hired a company like this was to trust their expertise in what they do. And we do react to their estimates.
We have internal estimating, we actually went through it ourselves. So we first got a cost back, we went through it ourselves and we assigned numbers to what we thought would be the savings. We actually reduced the building square footage, VE'd it, quote unquote VE'd it, and then we sent it back to estimating that as a Trophy Point then estimated it again to get us to our current value.
I'll tell you why I asked, because one time we got an estimate, and when I questioned it, I was assured it had been reviewed and the numbers were rock solid. And then when the bids came back, they were 25% over.
Yeah.
And then I was told the reason for that was because of the time of the year that the project went to bid,
That does affect it sometimes.
which
Yeah.
perhaps, yeah. So
Because sometimes contractors aren't hungry, they've got all the work they need and they've already got it lined up, and
yeah, but that would lead me to believe that the people putting the thing out to bid didn't know what time of year it was.
that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And we did account for, our estimates do account for escalation. They account for, there is some contingency built into that. So we do feel comfortable with the markups we have on the bid, and we feel like we're on the high side. Now, certainly if someone comes in and it is a bad time of year, or the price of steel goes through the roof, whatever happens with tariffs, that could affect the bid. I would anticipate 20%. Certainly right now, we are carrying a decent level of contingencies in our current dollar values. And
Something I
think
like to
with
pay
the-
close attention to, because what happens is if the project comes in over, like, we almost have no choice but to go for the larger price at that point in time, so.
Yeah, understood.
Going in, we'd like to know.
Well, and that's why we went with alternates too. That's what we
Yeah, we've got some opportunities to pull things out of the project that may or may not be necessary, and the hard decisions can be made at that time for sure. We plan on putting this up to bid at the end of February, which is the right season.
It's
Not in July,
Right.
when everybody's already doing their work,
Right.
but they're ready to really mobilize their teams. So I think we're on the right track for that schedule and that concern. Period.
Thank you very much, appreciate that.
Yeah.
What's the total acreage that the building and the complex is gonna cost?
I don't know that offhand, I'm sorry.
Just kind of curious as to.
Our civil engineer would have that answer right off the top of his head.
Exact acreage.
Um,
Do either you guys know?
Yeah, the legislature suite, it's gonna be about 20 acres.
24
So
acres.
yeah, it's two parcels combined, one is 4 point some acres, the other one's another 14.5 acres. Those parcels right around both sides of that cul-de-sac.
Okay. The other thing that you mentioned was that there was a substantial amount of money spent, and I see you've got listed here at $200,000 annually for the previous 5 years, so. I'm assuming that's $1 million for the last 5 years that we spent to put it right?
So I provided those numbers, legislative suite to the team, based on, I don't, when our department, when our department puts together our year-end review, I know it goes up to Van Ossenford. I don't know if every legislator gets a copy of our annual statement for DPW, but in that statement, it breaks down line by line how much money went to natural gas, electricity, water bills, building repair, cleaning, right down to every roll of toilet paper is accounted for that goes in and out of that building. So the annual, the last 3 years, just on maintenance of the building worked out to be, I think the lowest was 107, I think the highest was 123,000 over the last 3 years, and that's just, the 127,000, that's just maintenance, that's not including the cleaning, the everyday vacuuming, the labor going into that, that's just maintenance of the building.
Was that-
The heating system, the garage doors.
But I'm just talking what's contributed to flooding.
The flooding, so 2006 was, got the numbers in the office, 1.2 million was 2006. 2011 was, over $1 million. The Halloween flood was the first one I was associated with, that cost my department about in the neighborhood of $26,000.
And I'm assuming on those projects, we did get some reimbursement from FEMA and ZEMO.
Yes,
I'm assuming
or
we didn't.
insurance, I'm not sure, but that was what you're saying.
But what's hard to capture, those are costs you know you have, but you also don't know what that flooding's done to your building as far as the life of the building until you've done the full analysis, like I was talking about your structure. I mean, that flooding has done more damage than the dollars you know of as right now.
And the last question that I have, and I think the last presentation that you guys presented to us, the dollar amount, the total dollar amount was, I thought it was $10 million with a $2 million grant. And unless I'm wrong, what has actually changed from the original, from our last presentation as far as the dollar amount?
Right now, our goal is $10 million. It is.
But what was the presentation? I thought the presentation last time.
It was.
Yeah.
But that $10 million is based off of a square foot number. And once we got to the schematic design, that's when we sent it to Trophy Point, at which point the real numbers come into play. So,
Well, this budget,
we had some work to do. That's what I was trying to get at, that there was some cuts that we needed to make to the building size and to the way we're approaching certain heating methodologies, things like that.
right now, we're working off a $10 million budget. So like that's
estimate's not exactly 10 million.
Right, but I'm confused, as the last tenure was 10 million, and then you said there was some reductions.
Mhm.
What are the reductions?
What were they?
Well, what, the dollar amount, what is the dollar amount reduction from the last presentation?
Well, the last presentation, the building we presented to you would have been a $15 million building.
Right.
So we omitted $5 million from
That's
this,
what he's asking.
from the estimate. I'm sorry, I was
Yeah,
misunderstanding what you're
the
asking.
estimate came in high, and then we VE'd and took square footage out to get it back into the $10 million budget that you guys are working on, that we're working on.
VE is value engineered, meaning we reduced the scope of the project in both the site work and the building construction.
Yeah, the site work, we took out almost $1 million, and then, we took out about 7,500 square feet of the building, and then we VE'd out a bunch of stuff, everything down to the thickness of the slab. We just pinch everything down as much as we can. We feel like we're at a point where we've squeezed every last bit out of it, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's where we looked at the cold storage and all the.
Right.
Well, let's wait, we let them all
And-
hold that.
Right, the cold storage and that site area, we took that as an alternate too, because that's major site improvements, but we did that as well, that's how we got there.
Have you looked into any insurance savings? Now, we got a building that's been flooded multiple times in the same location, right? We don't look too smart, we keep fixing it up.
Yep.
This building is not sprinkled, where the new building is gonna be sprinkled, there should be a substantial cost savings on the new building.
It's a great point.
I'm sure you don't know that.
That's not our expertise, but that's a great point.
Well, I mean, if I was an insurance company, that's a high risk, that the facilities we have there.
Agree with that.
Mr. Patel?
So what, equipment versus building, what kind of costs are we looking at? You know, we talked about the tire racking, we talked about lifts, we talked about things like that. You know, if we looked at the bare square footage cost of the building versus the total, what are we looking at?
So right now, we're at $234 a square foot. Your equipment is probably 15 of that, not even.
Yeah, the equipment cost right now is like $200,000,
Just over 200.
250, just, no, right now, we're talking all in, is what we're shooting for, 10 million, that includes FF&E, that includes equipment, that includes everything, site.
So, I'm trying to get a number on the equipment.
Yeah, the equipment, just for like lifts, the rack, like you said,
Pumping systems.
yeah, the tables,
We can't include the exhaust system.
no,
That's part of it.
no, the workbenches, the part storage stuff, we're at about 250,000 for that equipment.
Depends on how that fits in. It's the equipment.
Yeah, and that's, the lift is the biggest portion of that, the lifts, so just the equipment cost is the lifts. And we consider relocating lifts even if, you know, like the lifts are, they're safe, they're just old, why would you relocate them? Thank you, yeah.
Anyone else from here? John?
Under your existing DPW, you're showing a 1.1 million for new fueling system. What is that fueling system?
Barry, you want to elaborate on how that system out there now is?
Is that for fueling your equipment?
Yes, yeah,
Does your 10 million
yes,
estimate include
It does.
the fueling
The
system?
new fueling island and tanks, yes.
Anyone else?
I might wanna add that several of us toured that facility today. 2/3 of the building, they can't put anything from 36 inches below. So all the storage they have is 36 inches and up due to prior flooding. So
It's
a lot of
wasted
people
square
don't know, a
footage.
lot of this building is unusable right now.
Everything is anticipating the next flood.
scramble you were describing, to go through when there is a flood is pretty intense to get what there is in there. You know, there's a discussion about the oil. When it does flood, there was a, what did you, the story, about the oil, you know, the carts that they drain the oil into, where it was left tipped over.
Have you looked into, what to do with the old facility if this ever went forward? I would suggest raising it and turning it into a ballpark for the town. It's,
That's for another zoning
If we
board.
don't get it, flooding's not gonna hurt a ballpark.
That's right. It definitely should not be used for anything else if it's vacated.
Yeah.
It's not a habitable building by any means. If the occupancy changes, the amount of work that would have to be involved to improve this building to make it code compliant is, it's not even worth it.
So just wondering if we should include the cost of removal of that one as a proposed lot.
Mr. Patel.
What would you say that the cost per square foot for demolition of a masonry unit building like that?
It's not exceptionally high. It's probably about $35 a square foot. There's gonna be, an unforeseen cost as well in terms of the asbestos, the lead, the hazardous materials cleanup, all that. I can't even comment on because I don't know the quantities, but we definitely observed asbestos while we were there. There's definitely lead paint, which means that every block that's removed from this site would have to go into a controlled environment. It's not just like standard fill. So there's gonna be some issues there too.
So did you say 21,000 square feet, the building?
No, it's more than that. It's 28,400.
I should have brought my glasses.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you.
If that's all.
Thank you. Let's see if somebody else that has something.
Your question.
And thank you very much for taking your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll do a 5-minute adjournment and then start the meeting. Okay, roll call, clerk.
First they were just walking.
Legislator Isabel.
Here.
I'm sorry, Chairman Isabel. Legislator Fertel.
Here.
Legislator Kelly.
Present.
Legislator Sweet.
Here.
Legislator Thayer.
Here.
Legislator Headwell.
Present.
Legislator Wilson.
Present.
Legislator Duchessis.
Present.
Legislator Pep.
Present.
Hey, Duke, would you do the salute to the flag, please? And at the end of the flag, we have a moment of silence from the clerk, because she's going to provide the information.
Okay, tonight's moment of silence is to recognize Willis Skip Barscheid, a local historical preservationist who recently passed away. Mr. Barscheid was a founder of a group dedicated to the preservation of Fort Clark and participated in the restoration of the Windfall Dutch Barn at South Springville. He also restored the Conrad Kiltz Barn at Stone Arabia and was a participant in many Mohawk Valley organizations. He was one of the founders of Stone Arabia Preservation Society and a trustee of the Kanjahari Library. In 2008, he received the 2008 Liberty Bell Award from the Montgomery County Bar Association and the National Historic Preservation Medal from the DAR. From an early age, he was engaged in collecting, preserving, restoring, and stewarding all forms of Mohawk Valley heritage, artifacts, sites, stories, and people. His collecting often focused on the families of Stone Arabia. His collections have been important for many in genealogy searches and those looking to learn more about the Palatine region of New York. Throughout his years, he authored various newspaper articles and historical narratives. He was the author of the book Shoes for John, the story of a Stone Arabia boy in the time of the American Revolution. Over the past years, many of his unique historical tools and artifacts have been in a weekly presence in the paper under the title of Whatchamacallits.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak? Okay. We have one proclamation tonight, and our legislator Headwell is going to present it. And this is to the Montgomery County dispatchers. Thank you.
Come forward, dispatchers. Sheriff. First of all, this is a great honor to present this proclamation tonight to the dispatchers. I was been aware that they do an awful lot, but until I read the proclamation, really got into seeing what they actually do, it was really quite surprising. I think that everyone will be surprised on actually what they do and how they perform their job. Okay, so tonight, whereas the County of Montgomery owes a debt of gratitude to those individuals who serve the public good and is proud to recognize 911 dispatchers who are known as the first line of defense in the Sheriff's Office. And whereas there are 11 full-time and 5 part-time dispatchers who work in the Sheriff's Office, and these employees dispatch every fire, ambulance, and police department in the county, besides the City of Amsterdam Police. They take calls from the longest stretch of the Thruway in New York State, whereas dispatchers work in an environment which can go from fairly peaceful to absolutely chaotic. And in 2019, they received 41,935 emergency calls in which they were responsible to dispatch police, deputy sheriffs, fire emergency personnel, equipment to scenes of crimes, accidents, fires, and other emergencies while being able to function calmly, under stress, and take the appropriate action swiftly. Whereas dispatchers must be detail-oriented, articulate, professional, multitaskers who are prepared for any type of calls that may come in because most often the dispatcher is the voice of reason and calm for individuals facing the emergency. And whereas dispatchers are the first to receive information and send people in distress the help they need while working alongside first responders to keep the community safe during many incidents that arise each and every day. Now, therefore, it be resolved, the County Executive Matthew L. Ossenfort, Legislator Chairman Joseph M. Isabel, and District 4 Legislator Robert Headwell Jr. on behalf of the Montgomery County Legislature hereby proclaim Tuesday, January 28, 2020 as the official date in Montgomery County to most gratefully recognize and show appreciation to and wholeheartedly thank the dispatchers for their dedicated service to the community and its residents. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to take a moment to thank the legislature and certainly our dispatchers. They are underappreciated, underpaid, and underrecognized. But to our first responder community, fire, EMS, and police, you are not forgotten. You are the first line of defense. When you answer that 911 phone call and there's someone on the other end that their child is choking or their house is on fire or one of our seniors has woken up with a deceased loved one in bed, you are the voice of reason. You are the ones that present the information that you receive in and deliver it out to the first responders when they respond to those scenes. And that is one of the most important functions of our first responder team. And we are all very appreciative of that. So thank you. We have 4 of our 11 full-time that can make it tonight. Others are working, but Donna, Brittany, Stephanie, and Mariah do a very good job. And I can't say enough about the work that they do each and every day. Very, very important.
And they are true professionals in the job that they do. And I think they should be recognized as being professionals, and I don't think people really realize that they're behind the scenes. And you can't do your job out on the street if they're not doing their job. And they're the ones that make everybody look good.
That is a fact. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good
Oh,
job.
she needs a picture?
Thank you, Sheriff.
Go back on the end again.
Who wants to take a picture?
No, you guys. Thanks guys for coming down.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, do we have any communication?
Yes, I gave you all your financial disclosure and gift disclosure forms. They need to be returned to me by February 28th.
Okay, we have to bypass the minutes for a couple of minutes here till you get that corrected over there.
Yeah, my deputy is working on the link. It's not working right at the moment. So as soon as she texts me, I'll let you know.
Okay, can I have a sponsor, let's see, for the budgetary transfers?
You have the same problem with that, Chair.
All of those are done.
None of them are working. Okay. Well, I guess
Madam Clerk, what would you like to do?
there's nothing I can do until she fixes it.
So do we bypass those, or do we temporarily? We're gonna bypass the budgetary transfers and bypass the procurement also, or no?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about computer glitches, I guess, right? Can I have a motion to amend the agenda to move that to the end of the meeting?
I'll make a motion to do that.
Okay.
I'll second.
Made motion.
And, like that, okay, yeah. Legislator Hedwell and Legislator Pep. All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? They're all moved to the end of the meeting. Okay, let's go on with, any old business for the night? You have no old business? Anyone have any old business? Okay, very good. Let's move on to, new business then. We're gonna go to the resolutions, unless you're ready over there, you wanna wait till the end?
Yep, we're ready.
Well, let's wait till the end now that we moved it, so.
Oh, no, I'm ready for you to do the resolution.
Okay, ready for resolution. Okay, resolution number 8. Resolution amending the 2020 operating budget, the 2020 Public Health Community Cancer Prevention Project Funding Award, and that's public health, and that's by Legislator Pep and Legislator Wilson. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, very good. Wait for her to say passed. Number 9, we've got resolution amending the 2020 operating budget, 2020 public health, the Research Foundation for the State University of New York award funds to public health. That's by Patel, Legislator Patel and Legislator Peck. Is there any discussion on that? Okay. No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, resolution number 10, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign a Berkshire Farms Center and Services for Youth Enhanced Stepping Stones Agreement, and that's social services, and that's by Legislator Wilson and Legislator Patel. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, resolution number 12, a resolution authorizing the county executive, 11, I'm sorry. Resolution number 11, I'll get used to it after a couple. Resolution authorizing the county executive to sign Berkshire Farms Center and Services for Youth Stepping Stones Agreement. And that's social services, that's by Legislator Patel and Legislator Pep. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 12, authorizing the county executive to sign contracts with Berkshire Farms Center and Services for Youth, Fultonville Central School, Canajoharie Central School, Fort Plain Central School, Oppenheim Ephrata, St. Johnsville Central School, and Greater Amsterdam Central School for home run and turnabout program, and that's social services, and that's by legislator Pep and legislator Sweet. All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 13, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign renewal agreement 2020 transportation of Fulton County veterans and youth and veteran services. And that's by legislator Sweet and legislator DeChesty. Is there all in favor? I'm sorry, is there any discussion first? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any abstentions? No, okay, very good.
Pass.
All right, number 14, resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into an undertaking agreement in connection with the New York State Department of Transportation for completing highway work within the New York State Department of Transportation right-of-ways. And that's Public Works, that's by legislator Sweet and legislator Peck. Is there any discussion on that? Any discussion? No? Okay, so we'll take a vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign construction agreement for CR 160. And that's Burtonsville, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, road, spur bridge replacement. And that's, would be 330140, and that was the bid, Public Works. And that's by Alderman, I keep saying. Legislator Patel and Legislator Pep. Any discussion? Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Any, no, any noes, please? Any abstentions?
Pass.
There you go. Resolution 16, resolution appointing member of Montgomery County Sanitary District Number 1, Board of Directors. That was by legislator Sweet, legislator Kelly. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, resolution amending the 2020 operating budget, New York State Local Government Records Management Improvement and Improvement Fund Grant. And that's by legislator Kelly and legislator Wilson. And is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution 18, authorizing the county executive to sign a revolving loan fund agreement for the, let's see, Eisenadler Brauhaus LLC, Economic Development Planning. Legislator Thayer, legislator Kelly, any discussions?
Yes, Chair. During our committee meeting, I did ask the executive director some questions about this particular property. I just want to say thank you for getting that information forthwith. It settled any questions I had in my mind. It's not exactly the kind of work I would want to go into, but I wish it luck.
Okay, anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, resolution number 19, appointing member of the Montgomery County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board, County Legislator. That's by County Legislator Sweet and County Legislator Thayer. Is there any discussion? Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 20. Resolution number 20, appointing a member of the legislature to the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Fulton and Montgomery Counties Association Board of, and that's by Legislator Pep and Legislator Wilson. Is there any discussion? Who was that got appointed?
Legislator Kelly.
Okay. All right, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 21. Okay, we're gonna confirm appointments made by the county executive to the Montgomery County Soil and Water Conservation Board of the Director, and Board of Directors. That's county legislature by Legislator Pep and Legislator Wilson. Is there any discussion on that? Can we find out who they are, or you're?
Legislator Kelly and Legislator Hadwell.
Okay, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Legislator number 22, resolution number 22, confirming appointment made by the county executive to the Hudson Mohawk Resource Conservation and Development Council by Legislator Thayer, Legislator Sweet. Is there any discussion on that? And can we have, who was appointed to that?
Legislator Kelly.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, resolution amending the 2020 operating budget carryover for public defender, Legislator Headwell. Legislator Headwell Jr., I guess, on that one, and Legislator Wilson. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, resolution.
Pass.
Okay, resolution number 24, amending the 2020 operating budget with carryover forfeiture money in the district attorney's office. Legislator Bertel, Legislator Thayer, is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Pass.
Any abstentions?
Sorry.
That's okay. Resolution number 25, confirming members, Montgomery County Criminal Justice Coordination Council, probation, by Legislator Wilson and Legislator Thayer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 27, accepting the FY 2019, what's that? I'm right.
It's 26.
Okay, 27, I'm sorry. Resolution accepting the FY 2010 state emergency. Missed 6. I missed it. Okay, fine. Sorry about that. Resolution authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement accepting the FY 2019 state Homeland Security Program SHSP grant fund and amending the 2020 operating budget. And that's by Legislator Headwell and Legislator Wilson. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, any discussion first on that? I'm sorry. All in favor is aye. Any negative? Any noes? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay. Resolution number 28. I'm sorry, I keep jumping one ahead all the time here because I'm putting the check mark too early. So, resolution number accepting the FY 2019 State Emergency Management Performance Grant, that's EMPG, from New York State Homeland Security, amending the 2020 operating budget emergency management, and that's from Legislator Pep, Legislator Sweet, and is there any discussion on that? And all in favor?
Aye.
Any negative? Any abstentions? 28.
Pass.
Okay, thank you. 28, a resolution amending the 2020 operating budget K9 for the Sheriff's Department. And that's by, let's see here, Legislator Sweet and Legislator Kelly. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution 29, memorializing the United States Congress in support of clarifying the 911 telecommunications telecommunicators as a protective service. Occupation sheriff. And it's by Legislator Sweet, Legislator Headwell. And is there any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor of that? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 30, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement accepting the FY 2019 State Homeland Security Program, SLETPP, grant funds and amending the 2020 operating budget. And that's by Legislator Pep and Legislator Wilson. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, resolution number 31, resolution accepting and amending the 2020 operating budget to utilize a 2019-2020 New York State Homeland Security legislative member grant from Assemblyman Santa Barbara. That's Legislator Patel, Legislator Pep. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, resolution number 32. Resolution accepting the 2019 PSAP grant and amending the 2020 operating budget, 2019 public safety answering point, and that's a PSAP grant program. And that's by Legislator Sweet and Legislator Thayer. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, resolution number 32, appointing member to the Montgomery County Law Library Board of Trustees. That's by County Legislator, and by Kelly, and by Legislator Wilson. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Well, okay, resolution number 34, appointing a member to the Montgomery County Jury. Let's see, County Legislature by Legislator Kelly and Legislator Pep. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
And resolution number 35, approving abstract of audited claims. County Legislator by Legislator Kelly and Legislator Isabel. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, now do we go back to the, yeah, we're going back to the other right now, and we're gonna do the, we're gonna approve the, I need a sponsor to approve the minutes. And a second. Legislator Pep and Legislator Kelly. Is there any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Pass.
And I need a let's see, a resolution acceptance of the budgetary transfers. I need a sponsor. Legislator Kelly, okay. All right.
Kelly,
Medwell, yes, and any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Pass.
Any abstentions? Okay, any other business?
I make a motion to
approve the procurement record. Okay, I'm sorry about that. We didn't do that before, right?
I'll make a motion to accept the procurement
I thought we just done that before. Okay, all right, and second? Legislator Dan? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
And now we're ready for other discussions. Other discussions? other discussions?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
You usually do that. Legislator Kelly makes the motion to adjourn. Who's gonna second that?
I'll second.
Legislator Peck, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions?